is Eddie Robinson, and
this is mine, and I'm Piper.
This is Piper Robinson. This is Izzy Robinson.
Hi there. My name's Felina, and I have an art gallery in the old part of Oamaru town.
I'm Ray, probably a well-known identity around Oamaru.
My name's Bob Avis. I'm a retired school teacher and ex-Royal Navy man, and we're in lockdown in Oamaru.
Hey, I'm Grant Rhodes. Yep, home at the moment, obviously. Work at the Waitaki District Council. So
I'm Sarah Baker, and I am a graphic designer for Waitaki District Council on contract, and I also run two businesses. I run an Airbnb and I run Critters at Oamaru.
Hi, I'm Kaylee.
I'm Maggie.
I'm Tammin.
I'm Poppy.
I'm Derek. Hi, I'm Dan Lewis. I'm based in Oamaru. I'm described as a key worker, an essential worker, because I own a radio station.
Hi, my name's Mel. I live in Oamaru, which is a small town on the east coast of the South Island, New Zealand. I am in lockdown with my son.
Oh, there, one sitting on my lap and the other is sitting next to me. And my greatest challenge is probably myself. I've noticed that when you're cooped up with two children and your wife is working from the bedroom, that you make or break any given moment by the attitude that you have. And I've had a lot of challenges, but a lot of it has come from the way I'm looking at the situation. And they've coped really well, I have to admit. I don't think they're missing as much as I thought they would of the outside world.
And my favorite.
What do you miss?
Kindy.
She says she misses kindy. And what do you miss?
School.
So we've been home, kindy and school all at once, haven't we? That's been a challenge.
You know, my daughter and her husband and our two grandchildren live 5 minutes walk away, but we can't go and visit them and they can't visit us, which we find a real challenge. We do talk on things like Messenger, but it's not the same. And we've got the social interaction, like, for example, I play golf twice a week, and that is more for the social than for the golf, because I'm a terrible golfer. But I miss it. I really do miss it. Pat goes out to Iona Home and Hospital. She is a casual visitor, and she does social, the singing thing on a Wednesday, and she misses that dreadfully. And of course we go to church normally on a Sunday morning, and we miss that. So it's the interaction with people which I think is the main challenge, or the lack of it rather.
Yeah, probably for me the biggest challenge is just not seeing your loved ones and your friends, like people that you care about, people that you usually interact with regularly. Like, it's quite strange all of a sudden you can't see those people.
Really, work is quite different. I've got into a more planning mode with a whole lot of work, which is quite different than what I normally do with running projects and contractors and people out and about during the day. Certainly not as many phone calls and that kind of thing. So I suppose it's a positive as well to be able to focus on a lot of that essential planning work going forward.
Mostly being bored because we have to stay at home all the time. I mean, there are things to do, but it's not very exciting as being like out in town and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm working still full time, so I shut myself away in one of the girls' rooms and have that as my office. So my challenge is the mother's guilt of having these girls at home and not being able to spend that time with them, where they would usually be at school and not really bothered, but they know I'm right next door, so it's quite hard. But I'm still very grateful that I've got a job at the moment. So yeah, that is one of my challenges. How about you, Maggie?
Poppy.
Poppy is your challenge.
Yes.
Yep. Fair enough, siblings. Yep.
Me, a lot of stuff hasn't changed. I live on my own. I don't entertain here because this house is a bit of a fixer-upper, so it's always a mess. So basically, the lockdown hasn't changed a lot of things in that regard. But I do go out a lot. I'm pretty gregarious. I like to go places. I go to the club for snooker. I go to the bridge club. I have my U3A meetings. So I'm missing all that because that's interacting with people, and that's what I really like to do. I like to get to meet people and do things. And also, one of the things I'm finding a bit challenging is I've developed this habit of going out for long walks, probably anything up to 2 hours, and taking photographs around the district. I like to record things as they are and as they might be in the future around Oamaru. So, of course, I can't do that because it dictates that our walks are basically just around the block, etc. So,
and probably the other challenge is just keeping yourself busy. Like the first few days, we probably done nothing and we spent a lot of time on just lazing about on technology, and all of a sudden I realised, hey, the kids are spending all their time on devices and this isn't healthy, and so we had to kind of re-look at how we were going to make it work for the meantime and make sure that we were not just spending our whole life on devices and being lazy. What's hard for you, Kaylee?
Probably not seeing my friends.
Yeah, not seeing your friends, yeah.
My biggest challenge is the girls being at home all the time, so the time we've got a little bit of work on, not as much as normal, but trying to fit in work with looking after the kids and getting all the house sorted because it's damn sight messy with the kids home. Yeah, working through all that at the moment, that's quite hard. The biggest challenge though for us is the internet. We're on rural broadband, so we have a limited amount of data that we can access without paying for more, and we're going through quite a lot every day, just through work, and then the kids as well, so becoming very, very expensive.
Mm-hmm. I think one of Derek's challenges too is that he's had a chest infection for the last few weeks. So the thought of him actually catching that virus makes it a bit scarier too. Like there's that wee anxiety if he actually got it, it would be a double whammy for him. Yeah.
A challenge I've been facing is that my other son is not in lockdown here with us. He is at his dad's place, and that is not in our local area. So grateful to have technology to be able to stay in touch with him, and the simple things like being able to say hi to my mum and see her and give her a hug and those sorts of things. Those are the challenges that I've struggled with.
In the job that I do, it's reasonably busy. When other people are sort of slowing down, I'm having to actually ramp up some stuff. So that's quite interesting. We're working remotely as well, which is, we've got the technology to be able to do that. So we're actually video conferencing in the morning while we're on air. A lot of change outs with commercials and things as well from our side of things, because of course advertising is one of those things that some people, when shops aren't open or businesses aren't open, they don't advertise. So that's a challenge. Just the general challenges of day-to-day business on top of then not really having as much interaction with clients directly either. So that's interesting. And working in an office on my own, whereas normally the 3 or 4 of us here. So
these are really uncertain times we find ourselves in. Who would have ever thought that we would have found ourselves in this position where all of our rights have basically been taken away, but we have had them taken away for our own safety. It has its challenges, and it means for the likes of myself, I can't open my store. I'm restricted in what I can do and how I can trade.
As an essential worker, it is difficult for me to get to the supermarket throughout the week. The other side of that is I actually don't want to go to the supermarket. So while it might seem a challenge, it's actually been quite useful that I'm using what we've got in our cupboards and having to be resourceful and coming up with new ideas for dinner.
In a way, it's kind of forced homeschooling, I suppose. If you forget about all the things you can't do outside, the main one is getting the chance to have projects with children, your children, that last days or weeks even, that you build on, and very much like homeschooling, I suppose. I would never have considered homeschooling, but this feels very much like it, and starts at any age and at any given moment, and while they're with us, instead of it being at home and at kindy, it's really all about the learning that can be done, and that goes for me as well.
Positives. Well, again, as I've mentioned already, the house is a fixer-upper, so I've certainly got time on my hands to do some of the tasks now. I'm gradually getting through a few. The best thing is to tick something off the list without adding anything else, so the list gets smaller. So that's quite good, and that is happening. I find that communication, as much as I don't like Facebook, even though I'm on Facebook, I now find communication through the internet is fantastic at a time like this. It really shows its worth. I mean, well, not just Facebook, but like Zoom, like this Zoom utility, etc. The way you can connect through computers makes it so much easier. Because this would be horrible if we were in isolation and didn't have the technology. It'd be really, really horrible. Well, I've taken some lessons out of this myself, of different ways of doing things. I would hope that some other people will too, to see that, to reprioritize some of the things. Find out what really, truly is important in your life. People need to work to have an income, but there's always that old phrase, work to live or live to work.
Definitely. I think like the kids are spending a lot more time together. We're having a lot more fun together. Like it just brings you back to basics as well. Like the kids are doing baking and they've brought out toys that they haven't played with in years. Like it's just...
I suppose it's often hard having that balance when you're actually working from home. It's great to spend time with the kids and all that, but it's also trying to get that balance right to focus on your work as well. But it is quite nice. It's nice to spend able to walk out of the office and go and spend a bit of time with the kids and see what they're doing and get outside, go for a ride around the block, play a bit of table tennis. The garage has been converted to a bit of a fun games room. Both the cars are outside, so that's nice being able to just do some of those activities as well. And certainly there's no downtime with driving anywhere. That's a bonus.
Yeah, probably just like hanging out with family, because usually at school, it's 6 hours during the day, so yeah.
But there's a lot of things to be positive about as well, and I think it's just really important to keep yourself motivated and keep yourself positive, get out in the fresh air, and just do all those things that keep your mind healthy. Yeah, it can definitely be what you make of it, that's for sure.
Getting to watch more movies and getting I don't really know.
You guys get to talk to your cousins and stuff way more than you did before, because we're always on group chats with our family. Since we can't see Nana and Papa and that, we're always actually spending more time with them virtually, but that's been cool, eh? Yeah. And you play way more stuff like online than you usually are allowed, eh? Yes. How about you? Positives?
Having Tam in home, that's quite nice.
And lots of baking.
Yeah, lots of baking.
Yeah. So I guess family time. There's a bit more of that than we're used to. So that's good.
Yeah, I'm quite enjoying not rushing to drop the kids off. All their different things, like things have slowed down a wee bit, which is really nice. And yeah, it's like everyone gets to take a deep breath, and even though I'm working, it's not as hectic as usual, and we're spending more time together, which is cool.
Basically, it's made us rethink what we're doing. I think our garden has never been as tidy as it is now. And my basement is tidy as well. My workshop is tidy, so I've had time. I haven't had to keep looking at the clock. I know I've got as long as I want to do all the clearing up and all the tidying. And I think it's also got us to think about what we actually have in our house. And we sort things out. And I have a suspicion that Trade Me is going to be really loaded up with stuff when we come out of this lockdown, because there's so many speed. And another thing I think is very good, although probably not so obvious in small towns like Oamaru, is that when you're going out for your walk, and we often go for walks, both in and out of lockdown, people are all saying hello and as they pass on their bikes and things. It happens in Oamaru normally anyway, I think it's in the big cities they're probably noticing that most, but probably it's happening more now in Oamaru than it happened before. And it is not
looking at alternative ways of doing things. I mean, we're already fairly technologically savvy, we have to be, with regards to the equipment we use, the software we use. My backup and support, I mean, IT-wise, it's very computer reliant and dependent. But I've got backup and support from not only here in New Zealand, in Christchurch, but I've got, and in Oamaru as well with our IT guys. But also in Canada, in America, in the UK. So again, I mean, we're used to working remotely in that sense. But whereas you would normally have people in the one location, we've been having to work out ways that we can do things slightly differently and work remotely. And I've had a box of tricks on my desk for probably months to be able to do some of this sort of stuff. And it's really when needs must. And it's like, okay, I've got to really push it to make it work and make it happen. And it's one of those things that you find that sometimes, you know, you put things off because you think they're going to be more difficult than they are. And you look back, you think, why didn't I do that sooner? This is so much easier.
I guess we're actually spending less money because we're not popping to the shop every day to get this and that, and then picking up extra things while we're there. And saving money on petrol as well, because we're spending about $50 on each car. I've got 2 cars, so $50, so $100 a week we're saving on petrol.
Things like I'm just looking forward to, I might take a week off where we can do some stuff in the house, and that would be really cool. That would be a big positive to actually get time to do that. So yeah, it's good to take a break from that and just get on with actual real life and appreciating what we've got. I can go for a walk and hear birds singing and walk down the middle of the road and there's no cars coming. It's just amazing. Yeah, I do.
Making plans for the future as well. I mean, with my business, I've got quite a diverse set of skills, and trying to think how I can use them in the future. For years, I've been trying to get a winter festival going and telling people that we need to draw more on the domestic market rather than relying on international tourism. And look what's happened. We're going to have to rely solely on the domestic market, especially for Oamaru. So maybe some of those plans might come to fruition over the next couple of years.
We get very much caught up in the want it now, need it now, has to happen, why isn't it here, I ordered it 2 minutes ago. And where I think if there is a big positive out of this, it's going to be that we look at what's really important and what's not important, and we look at that in a different way. The social side of things is important. Keeping that mental connection, having the banter, and a couple of mates and I, we usually go down to Fat Sally's on a Friday night, not every Friday night, I hasten to add, but when we can. And I still have been late for the pub on 2 occasions. But we've been doing it via Zoom, and we've had a virtual beer. We've christened it the Zoom bar, because that's the important part of the equation. The important part of the equation is the occasion. It's the getting together, it's the catching up, and it's the spending time together. The venue, in a way, kind of comes secondary to it. But the important thing is actually that connection. And I think, again, that's a positive that could come out of this, is that we look at things and we think, what's important and why are we not doing that? I've got friends who are going to go camping over Easter. I see they've set up a tent in the living room. So they're still going camping. But we're becoming more resourceful. We're probably relying a lot less, obviously, on takeaways, and we're relying on some of those recipes that we've been handed down over the years from our mums. And
it's forcing people to stop. We're stopping and we're smelling the roses, appreciating art, stopping, staring, looking, engaging. People are becoming a bit more sort of friendlier, I guess, because it's not so pressure fueled kind of demand to do everything. We've been made to stop, so we've stopped. And I see that as a real positive.
The thing is, we'll go forward out of this, and we'll sort of carry on being kind, more tolerant, and more appreciative of what we've actually got. I think that's a really key message at the moment, is that we don't know how long it is going to be until we get back to what we have called normal. And realistically, I don't think the normal that we knew is going to be the normal that actually comes to us at the end of all of this. I think it's going to be a new normal. And I think the ability to adapt, be tolerant, be kind, and considerate is the one key thing that's actually going to get us through this. And the future is what we make it. The future is however we decide to shape it. So we've got an opportunity maybe to hit the reset button.
It's making us stop and slow down. It's making us rethink how we do things, why we do things. Do we need to continue doing them the way that we are? And can we do things better? And for me, that looks like not sweating so much about the small stuff, just allowing what is to be. And I really do feel that, yes, there is some heartache out there. Yes, people are being challenged. There are some hard times ahead on lots of different levels. But the other side of that for me is that we can do this better when we come out the other side. And I think that's the possibility that we can create for ourselves. I think the other thing I'd like to say that is I'm incredibly grateful to be a Kiwi in New Zealand at this time under the leadership of Jacinda Ardern. I think she's doing an incredible job looking after us all and having to make those hard decisions for us. I think she's been amazing, and I do feel very blessed that I'm not elsewhere in the world, and we're here and we're safe and we're coming through this.